Hello everybody. So I wanted to make a little bit of a different video. As you can see, you got wide Woolie, boys. It's not super wide Woolie, but it's pretty wide Woolie. So in this video, I'm going to talk about things I would like to see changed in Risk of Rain 2. Now, I'm not going to talk about like specific item changes. Once the June update comes out, I'll do a full pass of the item equipment tier update. So I'm not going to give specific details on items, but rather give some general ideas and some general stuff I want to talk about that I would like to see change in the game. Let's start out with the biggest point. And if you watch my streams or you've been following my YouTube content, the biggest point I'd like to see addressed is character versus item balance. Now, what I mean by this is past like the 60-minute mark, every character feels exactly the same. Everyone is strong with sticky bombs, attack speed, crit chance, on-hit items in general. On-hit items are the way to go. Stacking on-hit items, every single character is powerful with this, and thus the character you choose is pretty much irrelevant past the 60-minute mark in like 99.9% of situations. Your character will not play any impact on you just blowing everything up. To me, it's the lack of specific character identity. Yeah, every character functions differently at the start of the game, especially. Like Artificer, amazing early game damage. She's cool. She kind of floats around. She got a charge bomb. Engineer has his turrets. He has a bubble. Like, they all have different stuff. They play differently. The longer the game goes on, however, the less impactful your character choice is and the more impactful the items are. And I get it, right? I get it's a roguelike game, roguelite, whatever you want to call it. I get it. The items are important. The items are the central point of the game, and that's where you're going to get most of the power from in any given run. I understand that. However, there is still a very clear lack of identity with your character past like the 60-minute mark. And for reference, all of the stuff I'm talking about is on Monsoon difficulty. I exclusively play on Monsoon, so I don't know how it functions on Drizzle or Rainstorm or whatever, but I'm assuming it's exactly the same. And so it's one thing to bring up this topic, is another thing to actually solve the topic. I understand that there's tons of context that goes into how the items work, the intricate balance between the items, all that stuff. I get it. And I'm not proposing that you just radically overhaul all the items and you somehow fix the characters. But I don't think the solution is something as simple as just buffing the characters outright or adding like an item that buffs every character. So for example, I didn't play the first game, but from my chat has told me there's an item in the first game, like some kind of magic scepter, that when you got it, it changed one ability on your character. I don't know if that's exactly how it worked, but basically you picked up this item and it changed how your character played. It buffed your character essentially. I don't think that's the solution. I think the solution lies in just adding more variety, number one, and just the pure amount of items that spawn in the game. So add more items, number one. But number two, change how the items interact with the character. Adding more items, number one, will just give naturally more variety, more stuff to choose from. But it's not going to solve the problem of on-hit items are the way to go with absolutely everybody. That's not going to solve the problem. The way to solve it is by making these items function differently on the character. So for example, let's say you're playing Artificer. Let's say every point of attack speed you get on the Artificer gives her like 0.1% cooldown reduction or something, right? That would make sense. I mean, that would be actually really OP now think about it. So don't follow me for the actual details here. The actual math would be different. But what I'm trying to get at is make certain stats or certain items function differently on each survivor. That would be a starting point for me. That would make the character that you choose interesting. That would make it feel impactful. So the second point I want to talk about here is the teleporter charge rate, which later on is very impactful. So what do I mean by the teleporter charge rate? So if you play this game past like, again, like the 45-minute, 60-minute mark-ish, you're essentially spawning the boss from the teleporter and killing it instantly. And then you're waiting around, you're killing random trash mobs that spawn, and you're waiting for this teleporter to charge. I believe it takes 90 seconds for the teleporter to charge fully. From start to finish, it will always take 90 seconds flat with one person, as long as you're inside the zone the whole time, obviously. So if you just lower the time it takes to charge the teleporter, then it's throwing the game balance completely out of whack. Because every second matters in a run, especially early on. Every second, every minute in the run especially matters. So just simply decreasing the time will throw the rest of the balance out of whack. So that's not what I'm proposing. What I'm saying is something like, let's say you kill the boss, and then every monster you kill after the boss is already dead, it charges the teleporter by like a flat 0.5% or something like that. So every monster you kill adds a little bit to the charge, so it speeds it up quicker. So not only does this not penalize slower builds, because they'll still be slow, you'll still charge a teleporter at 90 seconds, but if you're a faster build, if you have tons of damage, if you have lucky like clovers and sticky bombs and crit chance, all that stuff, then it doesn't penalize you for doing a lot of damage. I think a solution like that would be very, very beneficial for those later runs especially. In the early game, I get it. I get that the part of the challenge is waiting around for the monsters to spawn, and if you don't have a lot of AoE like Commando, mul-t for example, if you don't have a lot of AoE, it's challenging with all the monsters that swarm you. I get it. But I'm talking specifically in the later game. I stream this game quite a bit, and it gets kind of frustrating where most of my runs in the late game just turn into me waiting for the teleporter to finish charging and then going to the next stage. So it's more addressing the late game than anything. But still, I would like to see some change to how the teleporter charge system works. So kill the boss, and then every monster after that that you kill adds like 0.5% to the charge rate, something like that. All right, the third topic I want to cover here is one-shot protection. One-shot protection. By the way, I'll throw in a clip here of what happens on my stream so you can see what happens. One more check. Okay, so 1, 2, 8, 5. We have the overshield. Like, what is that? What is that, man? That's so dumb. And it's literally a one shot. There's nothing I could have done. There's nothing I could have done there. So I think one-shot protection should either be removed entirely or changed so that it gives you a little brief window of invulnerability for like 5 frames, 5 game ticks, whatever the system of the game is. I don't know what it is. After you take a big hit. So what one-shot protection is that if you are at full health, it is impossible for you to die to 1 instance of damage. So if you're at full health, you can only be reduced to 10% of your health from 1 hit. That's still a huge hit, 90% of your HP, but you cannot die from 1 instance of damage. However, if that 1 hit has a burning affix on it, so you start bleeding, or if you were hit by any other hit after that big hit hits you and you're down to 10% HP, you're probably gonna die anyway. And that's very frustrating because there's no point in having that mechanic if you're just gonna die anyway. So I get the fact that it's more there to be a cheese protection than anything, as in they don't want you to mess up for 1 second to get one shot by a blazing stone golem, right? But let's use that as an example, actually. Let's say you're fighting a blazing stone golem, not a stone titan, not the bzzz lock-on beam, but a blazing stone golem. Let's say you're 2 hours into a run and a blazing stone golem hits you with the beam, okay? You are dead. If you don't block that hit or mitigate it in some way, you are dead. And the reason for that is the beam is powerful enough by itself to one-shot you literally. But because of one-shot protection, your full health bar goes down to 10%. However, the burn from the blazing stone golem will just end up finishing you off and then you're dead. But the biggest reason why I think one-shot protection should be at least looked at the very least, is because of clay pots and the frost relic. Man, dude, these are so annoying. I've died at least 2 times on stream. I think maybe 3 times I've died on stream. If you have clay pots if you have 2 clay pots, one here, and clay pots are just the things that explode when you attack them. They do AoE damage. Those things do a lot of damage. The later a run goes on, those things deal a lot of freaking damage. And in that clip that I showed previously, that's exactly what happened. So I had a frost relic. So those pots, there's 2 pots right here and here. They're like maybe a foot apart. So here's my character coming in. Let's say this is the first pot. Here's my character coming in. So if my character with the frost relic activated, right? So there's a little AoE ring. If my character comes into range and then the frost relic is now in range to hit this barrel, it's going to hit the barrel, boom, blow up, and now my character took damage, right? But let's say I'm still moving. So in that process, I'm still moving. And remember, these pots are really close. So here's the first pot. The second pot's like right here. So as I'm moving, okay, the first pot, boom, it's activated. It's in the process of blowing up, but I'm still moving. And then boom, now I'm in range of this second pot. So now it is also in the process of blowing up. And this takes like a millisecond to happen. So my point is there's 2 pots, and I'm going to activate one and then activate the other like a millisecond after it. That is enough to kill you because the one-shot protection, it only lasts for 1 instance of damage. So that's why I propose make it at least last like 5 frames or something, or 5 game ticks. Again, I don't know what system the game uses because it's very, very frustrating when stuff like that happens. All right, the next point I want to go over is buffing the AI in the game. Now, I'm not saying give beetle guards more damage, give drones more damage. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they just suck. They're stupid. They're brain dead. They get trapped behind walls. They don't go after the target that you want them to go after. So I really think that some kind of change needs to happen to AI. Again, I don't know exactly, maybe like update their pathfinding or something, or make them attack the target that you're attacking. But the big drone, the TC prototype 208, whatever that thing is called, and the drone, the gunner drone, the missile drone, the healing drone, all that stuff, those guys die so easily. They are worthless at every point in the game. The only exception is if you have like some spare money, there's nothing else to buy, and you're going on the way to the teleporter and you run like right over a drone. I wouldn't go a foot out of the way to buy a drone. If I'm running like straight over a drone to get the teleporter, okay, fine, I'll buy it on the way to teleporter. But that is the only exception. They die right away. They're useless. So buffing the AI in the game overall by like their pathfinding or whatever, again, I don't know the details, but also the gunner drones, the missile drones, the TC prototype, all that stuff, the drones that spawn on the map, those need some number buffs. They are so weak relative to how strong a character is. All right, and finally, let's go over some specific character changes that I'd like to see. So let's start with Commando here. The shift, I think, needs a slight boost to movement speed after you use it. So after you finish the roll, give Commando a slight boost to his movement speed for a couple seconds, something like that. Or add like a movement speed and attack speed buff for like 1 second after you roll. And then secondly, which is the bigger point I want to get across, is that his R, I feel, needs to function like the mercenary. So currently how it works is that the Commando's R, the 6 shots that you shoot, so you see right here, fire rapidly stunning enemies enemies for 600% damage. The more attack speed you have, the faster those shots go out, but it does not add more shots to the same time frame. Compare that to the mercenary, who will always have the same amount of time frame to his R, which also the mercenary has invulnerability to hits during his R, which is absolutely amazing. So having the same time frame of that is really good. Eviscerate here. Target the nearest enemy, attacking them for damage repeatedly. It does more hits with the more attack speed you have. Commando's R does the same amount of hits, he just pumps them out faster. So when you get to the point where you're just holding down left click, you're the Terminator, John Wick, or whatever, you're the Matrix. When you're at that point in the game, the R just feels so lackluster compared to just holding down M1. Yeah, it technically is more damage if you throw it into your rotation, but it just feels so lackluster as an ability. It's just like 6 quick auto attacks, which is literally what the skill is supposed to be. I understand that. But as an ultimate ability, like, come on, that's so useless. Just, I would propose that the duration of the R is always the same, and you just pump out more shots with more attack speed, which should also help him in his early game, because in the early game, him and mul-t, I feel, are really, really bad if there's tons of monsters on the screen. Because, yeah, mul-t has his blast canister and his shift, which he can go drive and do drive-bys on everybody. So I think that buffing his R in this regard would kind of help out a little bit, pump off an extra few shots so you can spray the whole crowd kind of thing. So with Artificer, I recommend adding either one charge to her M1, her flame balls, her fireballs, or make it so that every point of attack speed that you have also modifies the rate at which you gain charges back by a very small amount. Again, I'd probably be like every 1% attack speed you have, you get 0.1% cooldown reduction essentially for your M1. That might be a little too OP. Again, I don't care about the numbers. I'm just trying to get the point across that her M1 needs some love. And with her R, dude, I just want to be able to sprint and use R at the same time. Is that too much to ask? Right now in the game, if you use an R in a situation where you don't have a lot of mobility, so if you don't have a Hapu Feather, a Wax Quail, some Goat Hooves, etc., and you use the R in a situation where you have like more than 2 or 3 things that are dangerous, so like Greater Wisps or Elder Lemurians or Stone Titans, something like that, if you use your R in that situation, you are putting yourself at a huge risk for not a lot of payoff. In my opinion, there's no reason why she can't sprint with the R. I don't get it. Just make it so she can sprint with the R, and that'll change a lot. If that's too OP, or if there's some reason that I don't understand why that's not the case, then I propose like adding some range to the attack so it goes further, or adding some girth, some width to it. And again, you can make those stats scale off attack speed, for example. So the more attack speed you have, the farther the flame goes. Who knows? Something like that. But for me, I just think, let me sprint with the R, please. So finally, moving on to Engineer here, I just think some of the power needs to be shifted off of his turrets. I'm not saying Engineer is like super OP or anything. If he was, I'd probably be playing him every stream. He's just kind of boring for me to play. He is objectively the strongest character in the game, yes, but that's because of his turrets. He essentially gets 3 times the effect of all of his items, which is crazy powerful. So again, I don't care about the numbers or how it happens, but to me, something like making the items less effective on the turrets, or just nerfing the total damage of the turrets. So let's say items are either 50% less effective on the turrets, or nerf their damage total by like 50%, something like that. I don't know. And then supplement that by adding power to his kit elsewhere. So for example, like make the auto attack balls, and the shoot out the balls, make those fly faster, because it is very hard to hit his auto attack, especially early on. So maybe make the velocity of the balls a little faster, add some more charges to it with more attack speed, like something, I don't know. Or another example would be make his M2, which is the mines, make them recharge quicker with more attack speed, or remove the max placement of 10. Now you can just go kamikaze a boss and just throw them on top of the boss, and they'll instantly explode, and then you won't ever hit that max limit of 10. But if you have a backup mag and you like to place your mines around like strategically and hold the position, you can only have 10, which is kind of pointless. So I think moving some of the power off of his turrets and placing it elsewhere would be a good idea for Engineer. All right, and that pretty much does it with everything I wanted to cover in this video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the changes I proposed, what you want to see happen. Let me know everything and anything to do with Risk of Rain 2 and what you want to see different. Also, let me know what you guys think about this more like uncut version. I didn't write a script this time. I had a notepad up on the side with like the big bullet points, but other than that, I just kind of talked off the top of my head. If you enjoyed this kind of format, you probably will enjoy my streams at twitch.tv/Woolie Gaming, where I talk about stuff like this all the time with chat. They ask tons of questions. We pretty much meme like 99% of the time, but other than that, we ask some questions. We have some, actual discussion happening. Also, you can join our Discord server. We have looking for group section, so if you need people to play with. We have a question section, so if you need help with the game, we have ideas and feedbacks. There's tons of stuff. So if you're interested in that stuff, also join the Discord server. The link to my Twitch stream and the Discord are in the description below and my pinned comment. Hope you guys enjoyed, and be on the lookout for the next video.